Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So, I came across this video, and sincerely speaking, I've been having this thought in my heart, and I never asked any question, or probably there was no video that to discuss that with you. But today, seeing this, I really do have this question because I have watched some videos, or probably brought some videos here where I saw a black cop, right? Probably stand in front of a white cop or probably Latino and watch them, right? Probably maltreat people that look like me without them saying any word. I don't know why, right? But yeah, it is what it is. But I stand to be corrected. Then I remember there was a video where I saw a young black man who was driving. Just he didn't do anything, driving with his girlfriend. They were really having a good time, discussion, traveling where they were going to, and ended up being pulled over, right, by the cops. He came down. Immediately he stepped down. They didn't tell him anything, straight up handcuffed backward, right? And before they could say Jack, tased him severely. And he fell. He was screaming, I do not want to die. I did not do anything, right? The girlfriend was also in shock. She was also recording what was happening because she was at the same time in shock. Then it happened that they found Pe0ple in the car too. Why make a searching, right? He's also licensed to carry that. And to my greatest surprise, the black cop was just there all through, not saying anything. Let's get into this video.
Of all the races of cops that I've had bad interactions with, black cops are the worst. Them and white women cops. And this is including my ex-stepdad, who was a black bald cop. And he didn't become a cop till later on. He was a massage therapist, and he used to brag all the time that young buck would see him to get massaged at Massage Envy. He'd go personally to him. And it's like he was slowly turning into the appearance of a cop. Like when my mom first started talking to my ex-stepdad at 12, I told my mama flat out, 5 minutes after meeting the man, I said, I think that this man is gay. The reason for that is he had locks down to his waist that he would get into intricate designs like braided like you would see on a woman. His belly button was pierced. He shaved his armpits and he wore what he called a satchel and I called a man purse. And he wore hoop earrings. Now the first sign that this man was going to become a cop was that he had this overwhelming inferiority complex because he was only a massage therapist. Because mind you, at this point, my mom had finished PA school and she was very successful. Either way, you could tell he was miserable with his life because he had no power. So he took it out on me and my brother secretly when my mom wasn't there. And when he couldn't control us, he became very angry. Like one time when my mom didn't go, she needed a break. She was in school and shit. And so we went with him to his family reunion in Washington, D.C. And he became angry one time because I wasn't walking fast enough because I was back with the other kids. We chilling. Nobody else's parents has a problem. He comes up behind me. Mind you, we're on the street. Walks up next to me. Grabs my side, like puts his hand over my side, like behind my back. Whispers in my ear something angry. And then digs his nails into the side of my stomach. Then proceeds to stand behind me and cross my arms as he marches me down the street. He didn't stop until his brother's fiance came and made him stop. Ironically, she said, there's cops out here. And Jennifer, if you ever see this, shout out to you. I think you are awesome and congratulations getting away from that bullshit ass family. And thank you for saving me that day. The second sign was the slow receding of his locks. They were still long, but a lot of them in the front started coming up missing. Started with one here on the ground at home in the living room. Is this yours? I say. And of course I would make sure to bring it up occasionally. Forehead got bigger and bigger and shinier until one day he must have looked in the mirror and accepted it. And he walked in one day and he had cut them really short, and he was bouncing around. They looked like 6 months after starter locks. He looked a mess. It was worse than before. In his mind, he had accepted it. In the rest of our minds, he didn't. And my mom just looked very uncomfortable standing next to him, as she should. Anyway, eventually it became impossible to keep on this facade in his own mind that was helping. And he never wore facial hair. So one day, he comes in and he stands before us looking like the dark side of the moon, meaning he was dark-skinned and bald with no facial hair. And he had really big teeth, and they were really white. So when he smiled or opened up his mouth at all, he looked like a crescent moon. Anyway, after that, the only path forward really is for him to become a cop. And that's what he did. He's also the reason for why I was arrested and the second cause of why I was almost charged. And they gave him a year to press charges against me. Mind you, I was a child, a 13, 14-year-old child, maybe 15. Anyway, my third interaction with cops was when I was about 15. It was a couple months after the second interaction that he caused. I was like 15, I think I was 16, and it was a black woman cop, and I had been arrested for shoplifting. I talked about this before, but technically I'm banned from Claire's and their other company, Icing, for life. And every time I go in the mall, I go right on in there. Because I ain't never turning myself in. Do your job, bitch, come find me. Anyway, she took her time to try to belittle me. Have I arrested you before? And I'm like, not unless you're an old, short white man and you're undercover as a tall black woman cop. Anyway, degrades me the whole way there. I get to juvenile, and the black men in there are super fucking awesome and nice. And a couple of black women were there too, and they were super fucking nice, but they weren't cops. My next interaction, keep in mind, my stepdad is a cop. At this point, I was like 21 or something. Anyway, it was nighttime, and I went to go pick up my little boo thing from Dyer City. And I'm driving back, and there's a hill. So I ended up going like, I don't know, 8 miles over the speed limit, and there was a cop. He pulled me over, black cop. Now, like I said, keep in mind, my stepdad is a police officer, so I would use his name sometimes, and they'd let me go. So he comes to my car, he does all this, he said, you know, I'm speeding, all that kind of shit. And I'm like, my dad's a police officer, and this always works. But he says, what's your daddy's name? And I tell him, and he says, I don't know that man. Here's your ticket. Well, this is embarrassing. Number one, because if he searched old dude person, shit would have been a little different. And now I look like a fucking snitch. But anyway, and then one time, this wasn't that long ago, people had called the police on me because the dog I had would run loose all the damn time. So here come the police officer in my yard. This man was dark skinned with blue contacts and a jerry curl. And so my dog is in the front yard on a little string thing so he can run around. And he says, I'll shoot your dog if it come over here. You on my property. They got the nerve to say, have a nice day, and get in his motherfucking car. You're not even telling me to keep him on the chain. He just came over to let me know he'd shoot my motherfucking dog if it attacked him. Give a damn, I don't even like dogs. But it's on GP, don't shoot my dog. Now, the white men cops never had a problem with at all. I only got a citation from one, and he had to give it to me because my license was suspended, and I didn't know because the courts had messed up with my insurance papers from the black cop who pulled me over, and I didn't have proof of my insurance, mind you. But he says, I have to give you a citation, and you can't drive your car. But once I pull off, what you do with your car is up to you. Basically letting me know, wait till he pull off so I can take my car back home. One time, I had got fired, and I was crying, and I was right there next to my project, right, on 14th Street in Andrew Jackson, and I did a rolling stop. White cop pulls me over, a man, sees me crying and says, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm sorry for that. He said, I'm not worried about that. Are you okay? I said yes. He calmed me down, said, I'm not going to give you a ticket. Just make sure you don't do no rolling stops. Boom. A year ago, after I just got the mental ward, I was going 60 in a 35. I was leaving the corner store to go like 3 minutes down the street to my subdivision. Nobody was on the road, but I still shouldn't have been driving that fast. Yeah. A sheriff pulled me over, a white man sheriff, asked me if I was okay, calmed me down, and said, I'm not going to give you a ticket. Don't do it again. Promise you won't do that again. I said, I promise. He said, all right, I'll let you go. And I've never done it again. Not because of him. I just don't want to get a reckless driving charge. I was going the wrong way down a one-way because I'm not used to this area. And my GPS told me to. First car in front of me, an Asian cop, pulls me over. You been drinking? Said I had a drink. He sniffed in my car. Said, don't do it again. Go straight home. Cool. White woman cop never gave me a ticket, but, she was real uppity. Didn't know her place. And I think I figured out the reason why they behave that way. I am a black woman. I am at the bottom. I'm not a man, so they're not scared that I'm going to hurt them. And I'm black, but they not black, so they have nothing to prove to me. But black cops feel they have something to prove. So if you poor, they feel like they're above you. And if you got money, they're jealous. The only power they feel they have is over black people because cops in the system are racist. Them bringing in a white man doesn't make the white law enforcement people happy. And I know because of my stepdad. They're always looking for validation and respect. They token niggas. That's why you see that black cops 9 times out of 10 will side with the white cop over their people. And white women just jealous of black women.
Being a black person in America is a nuanced and unique experience for every single individual black person. Who we grow up with and who we grow up around, the culture we experience, is going to greatly shape our relationship with ourselves, with our blackness, with other black people, with other races of people, and of course, with this country and its history. It is so interesting to me how people who would rightfully be upset at being held to a standard of stereotypes of blackness, or being told how they should think or should act because they are black, and would retort with, black people are not a monolith, always seem to forget what black people not being a monolith actually looks like. I am a black woman who spent a majority of my life in the countryside of New York. There is a lot of American symbolism that means one thing to me, but something entirely different to you. There's a lot of black culture that is unique to black New Yorkers, city, and countryside. My experiences growing up in that environment have heavily influenced my perspective of myself, of others, and of America. The same thing can be said for black Southerners, black Midwesterners, and everyone in between. It would make absolutely no sense for me to insert myself into their conversations to tell them that their viewpoints of themselves or their relationship with America is wrong. I would feel and look insane attempting to dictate the way black people who have completely different lived experiences than I feel about being black in America or America itself, especially when I'm aware that growing up in the North has given me a very skewed perspective of places like the South and has left me very ignorant about what being black in the South is like. And yes, you can intellectualize anything. You can state objective facts about anything, but that doesn't appear to be what's happening anymore, at least not in a productive way. It appears that yet again a conversation amongst the black community, if you will, has devolved into black people shouting over and being quite cruel to other black people. Very publicly, of course, creating the perfect circumstance for people of other races to begin delusionally believing that they can also join in with commentary on how black people in America should or should not feel about America and how they showcase those feelings or embody their blackness. Absolutely not. Now, as I've just said, you can intellectualize anything. There is a conversation to be had about Beyonce's halftime performance, what this era represents, and Cowboy Carter, if you'd like. Quite frankly, I think most of you missed the point. But I don't feel the need to join that conversation. I think we've heard enough. What I do want to say, though, specifically to black people who grew up in the South, is that I hear you. I love you, and your experiences and perspectives and culture are and is valid. Like I said, being black in America is already one thing, complex for a plethora of reasons, but I imagine growing up in the South as a black person adds even more levels of nuance and complexity, though this could just be my northern bias talking. The North, throughout history regarding black people, got to tote the guise of being anti-slavery and pro-integration. That was its longtime PR, especially in comparison to the South. Therefore, declaring pride in America as a black person in the North doesn't doesn't directly feel like, nor is it immediately perceived as, a declaration against oneself as a Black person. In the South, as a Black person, you are directly surrounded by one of the largest reasons there is controversy in being proud of America or proud to be American to begin with. You are directly surrounded by the culture our ancestors have created with their own hands and the people who waged a war in hopes of keeping Black people as slaves. People who attempt to cast you out of that culture despite it being yours. You're working through your relationship with America, Blackness, etc., all the while being judged and critiqued by people who know nothing about the South or you or your culture. And again, I'm making assumptions here. I could be way off. But the point I'm attempting to make is that I can see how the discourse over the past few days must have been exhausting, insulting, and leaving y'all to say, well then what the fuck can I have? What group can I feel included in? What am I allowed to be proud of? This is mine too. Culture and country. Your relationship with America is yours. To work through, to work with, to come to conclusions about. Nobody else has the authority to tell you what you should or should not be feeling or to dismiss you. That also applies to mixed people in America, by the way, but we can save that conversation for a different time. Another conversation I'll save for another time is that if you hear a Black person say they're proud to be an American and you interpret that as them saying they are proud of American slavery or proud of American atrocities, you are not very smart and absolutely need to improve your critical thinking skills. Why on earth would that be what they mean? Please. Anyway, last thing to keep in mind, from me at least, as you all chat, and then I'm done, I swear. The other reason conversations like this aren't very productive, besides the fact that everyone wants to police which Black experiences are valid, thus dismissing and often demeaning different groups of Black people, shutting down the opportunity for good faith discourse, is that y'all are arguing with people who you fundamentally misalign with. Leftists, liberals, Democrats, etc. are not the same people. You can't debate what order the colors on the stoplight should be if one of you believes there shouldn't be a stoplight in the first place.
So I was thinking about the rights that white women are always crying that they don't have. And it struck me. These things sound awfully familiar. I mean, past and present. The right to education, the right to vote, equal pay, reproductive rights, social freedom. So the freedom to be able to express yourself the way that you want to. And a few of these, you can check it off the list of things accomplished by Black people without any help from the white women who were begging for it. And while Black people were still enslaved and attempting to revolt and get freedom at that point for 200 years, in 1848, white women started the women's suffrage movement, asking exactly for what Black people were asking for while Black people were enslaved. Meaning L0ud was sneaking off to the women's suffrage meeting after finishing her delicious meal that was prepared by an enslaved Black woman after calling her the N-word because it was too seasoned. Then goes to this meeting with a group of other white women with the taste of the N-word still on their tongue that they called the enslaved Black man who opened the door for them because he looked her in the eye and sat down to cry tears amongst other YT women about how much they're suffering. Annabelle standing up there telling her story. Sorry everyone, I'm having a little pain in my shoulder from whipping my slave earlier. But I'm not crying from that. I'm crying because I have a dream that we will be able to vote. I have no rights. And then here comes Polly to tell her story. And then lifting up a book. I found this under the bed of one of my slaves after I whipped him for his insolence. I went in the house shaking, opening this book and thinking, I don't know what any of it says. I want education. We deserve rights. And here comes Mary. I too have felt like a victim. I walked by a breeding camp of the slaves and it reminded me that I don't have any rights to my own body. I'm being treated like a nigga. Mind you, they're all doing this in dresses made of the cotton that enslaved Black people picked. And then here comes Black people and knocked out about half of the things they were asking for and benefited from, while Black people got basically nothing. And after Black people did all of the work, the white women got 3 fucking chapters of the women's suffrage movement in everybody's fucking history book. I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck they did except just be racist and hold back the movement that they said they wanted. And now they're asking for help for the same shit today. And we're still in a position of more oppression than they claim to be in, are disrespecting and oppressing the very people who gave them the rights that they enjoy today. And like 100 and something years after they started this feel sorry for myself movement, they're just now trying to progress off the coattail of black movements. Shit crazy.
So this is all I got from this video. And sincerely speaking, all their videos are very informative, if you ask me. And I am going to start with Crystal Black. Crystal Black, you know, there is something that I have noticed when it comes to black cops, but I did not take that to heart. But severally, I have actually seen them side, especially black cops, right? Seen them side either white people or probably other kind of cops, right? To probably arrest someone that look like me. And I really don't know why. I understand as a cop, I mean, sometimes when there is arrest or something, you are probably not supposed to start questioning. But I have seen them white cops, right? Like, intimidate someone that look like me without them black people or black cops being present and not saying anything about it. I have also watched videos where black young boys were pulled over, right? For no just reason. They didn't do anything. The one I saw was with his girlfriend. He is licensed to carry a Pe0ple, right? And just nothing happened, just probably because you look like the description or something. They pulled the young man over. The young man came out, and the next thing I saw was they tased the young man so badly. So why were you tasing? It was actually the girlfriend that was all out trying to record and asking them what happened, what did he do, that they just pulled them over and he came out and they just also handcuffed him backwards and tased him for no just reason. The young man was screaming, and in the end, what happened? Just because they said, okay, in the end, they said they are sorry that he looks like the description. And the black cops there could not do anything, could not say anything. See, I don't know if it is like I don't know how to say that. Like if it's a thing or like a trend happening for them. But I have really noticed that severally. But then I also stand to be corrected. And why I'm saying that I have also seen that happen to other people. I am also not trying to generalize like all cops are bad or all black cops are bad. That might still be a good one, but this particular one, I know what I am saying. So Crystal Black is actually very sure of what she's saying. So because if I can tell a little bit about it, I am sure you all that have experienced that more can also tell better story about it, right? Now, being you all already know that being a black person in general, not a black man, being a black person in general is kind of exhausting out there. And the best I can say is really just uh, do as much as you can to stay away from them, stay away from trouble. And I am not even saying stay away from trouble, like the ones that I have experienced did something, right? They did not do anything. So trying to tell you to even stay away from trouble, it's like gaslighting, right? But still, I am going to say stay away, stay away from anything at all. Just always be on the move. But one thing I have noticed when it had to do with people that look like me, you don't have to be at fault. You don't have to look for trouble. You don't have to, I mean, just because you look like me, it's more than enough for you to get into trouble, for still stay out of trouble, right? And coming from Danish, right? Danish talking about how they perceive people that look like us and all that. I think this 2025 is also coming. I don't know, but it's coming with me feeling a little bit somehow, probably because I think as you are growing, you are like, probably mentally becoming more mature and reasoning real good and better. Something that I am learning to like, I do not care what anybody think or say about Black people anymore. I already know what I know, and the fact that any little time that I get, I try as much as I can to educate anybody that I come across. I think 2 days ago on Friday, I was supposed to go out with one of my family friends we haven't seen for a longer time, for like 7 years thereabouts. And I think my sister gave my contact, put a call through to me, and hey, when are we say? I said, oh, okay, fine. We can, like, we got talking and we started talking politics. And bro wanted to swing with the Trump policy and all that. It was not a good one. You know, it was not a good one. And that was the end of the discussion. And I also refused to go out with him. See, I don't think I am overreacting or something, but I feel like, at some point, some people may not align with what you believe in, because each time I sit down with some certain people, especially people from where I am from, to talk about politics, some of them do not have in depth of uh, African American struggles, right? And how life has been for them. So, any little time I get, I try as much as I can to educate anybody around me. So, why that was going on, I told him that not on my watch or anything, or are you going to, like, say something because you probably do not, or if you do not understand it, that it's okay, you don't understand it, but blindly trying to tell me that the other person, like, you are you okay? I am sorry, but that really do not sit well with me. Why? Because I mean, I have people out there that do not have to, I mean, like, go through some certain things. And if there is anything that I can do as an African woman, is to wedge some certain things. And I really do hope that as time goes on, like, this movement will really be very huge, because a lot of people really, this information that has been spread out there about people that look like me really need to be corrected. The media, I mean, because I feel like it's getting better. I am not going to lie to you. It is getting way better, but at some point, we need everybody, when I say everybody, but babies growing up and all that, to understand what happened and how the history has been going down and what they have been doing to people that look like me. This is where I'm going to draw the curtain. And I thank you so much for the support. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.